Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've handed out copies of an updated brief on the bill. Would you like me to give a shorter summary, or do you want me to go through the brief itself?
I think if it's all right, just the agreement that has been reached, the change that will be made. Is that okay? Or do we need to do the whole thing again? That's what they're going to do with the changes from all the stakeholders. So Mr. Chairman, I think that would be yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. So you'll see that on page 5 of the bill, at the very end of the definition section, the definition of the term close proximity to the identifiable meat term would be stricken. And then turning the page, the next amendment would be on page 7 of the bill. On line 10, I'll read the sentence as it would now read. If it is a meat analog, and 1, its labeling utilizes an identifiable meat term, and 2, the labeling does not have a disclaimer in a prominent and conspicuous font in font size in close proximity to the identifiable meat term, stating one of the following, etc. So the changes are relatively small, but please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and this is for the revisor to make sure. Is the line, on line 10 on page 7? Okay. Is the font, is that crossed off too? It's not quite on mine, so I don't know. And I didn't quite understand when you was reading, and I kind of missed that.
No worries. The word font would not be stricken, so it would need to have a disclaimer in a prominent and conspicuous font size in close proximity, etc.
Thank you, Mr. Charton. Thank you.
Any other questions? Advisor? Seeing none. Advisor, what's the next step? Need a motion to approve?
In this setting, it's up to the discretion of the chair. What really matters is whether or not the members end up signing the actual report itself. So you may want to take a vote, have a motion on record just to make sure. But otherwise, we would, if there's an agreement, we would generate the conference committee report and then find you later for signatures.
All right, committee heard. Senator Ware.
Thank you so much. It's not, I don't have a question for the revisor, I don't suppose. But my only concern in all of this, I understand it, it makes sense, is whether or not the folks that have meat analog products in like a health food store setting, not a Dillon's or whatever, if they were at the table when all of this was sorted out. My concern is beyond that they tend to be a much smaller concerns, smaller companies, and if we demand changes in the way they label, it may make it really hard for them to do business in Kansas. And not that that's a deal breaker, we can take it up later, but it's an issue that I think we need to address at some point.
Anybody else?
I'm sorry, do we know if they were at the table?
Senator, I don't think so. I think that, and not to speak out of school, with the amount of livestock that we grow in the state and the idea of making sure that there's no confusion among consumers, I think we probably were looking at a bigger picture. I think what you said, if this becomes a concern for those smaller, those niche markets, niche stores, that maybe we would have to address, much like we did last year when we met across the way dealing with hemp. So I believe, I mean, we didn't, I guess we didn't, our side didn't hear a lot from some of those health companies, health food stores that said, hey, this is a large concern.
Thank you. That's about what I expected. Thank you.
All right, anyone else?
That'd
be fine.
Mr. Chair, since we'd be accepting the Senate position, is that correct?
Yeah, the proposed amendment. Yeah.
The proposed amendment did come from the Senate, so I feel it would be on our side to make the motion. And if anybody else wants to make it, fine. I think it's good to have it in a motion because when I try to take it back to my caucus and say, this is what we did, I like to read a motion. So I move that we accept the changes offered by the Senate and pass out this conference committee report.
Second? Seconded? Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Do you want to count so you have something? Unanimous? You said you wanted to be able to see what. Okay. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, before we break, and I know you thank the staff. We have more folks in here, so again, thank you and your team and the staff here. You all been put through a lot already today. I know some of you sat there for hours waiting for a 5-minute budget discussion. So, but thank you all for working. Thank you, senators, for coming to the table on this. This is important for Kansas farmers and ranchers and really all Kansans. So I know it's kind of a late hour, but it's still light outside. But thank you for this, and we'll look forward to getting across the finish line tonight.
You're surely welcome. Okay. Committee, that's we need to get with the revisor yet, or we're done? We're done, aren't we? All you got to do is get the signatures, and we'll find them. Okay. Okay. You heard that? With that, we are adjourned.